From the dirty to the hyphy bay, to the Big Apple where hip-hop began, we got you covered.
We gonna get on down now.
Real hip-hop, my man. Yo! Breakdown FM.
Whenever we stand against the flow of opinion on strongly contested issues, a man does what he must, in spite of personal consequences, in spite of obstacles, dangers, and pressures. That is the basis of all human morality.
Now let's talk about self-expression, true expression. Open your minds without question, no doubt. Tell me what you're thinking about. Let's try to set aside pride and clout. Can you believe I feel the same exact way you do? You truly do believe these modern ways have fooled you. Systems exist so we never meet each other. Pretty soon from now they outlaw the word brother. And that's true if they see you walking with the crew. If you don't know, that means more than two. I'll tell you what they'll do. They'll pull over, hunt you over, kick your ass, nightstick to your shoulder. I know it's unjust as if it wasn't enough. If you try to fight back, they're locking your ass up. And Chuck already told you that a cell is hell. But I'm waiting for the phone, so I'll sit for a spell. Call the guard, tell him I'm a piece of God with no beliefs in his streets or his boulevards. I eat rage so my mental is hard, and the heat from my anger just melted the bars. They reach for their guns, so I put him to sleep. Break the chains and put the shoes back on my feet. He's on the loose with no discernible scars or marks, just the mind of Mandela and the heart of Rosa Parks. So I dip. Time to see the governor and mayor. Tell them life ain't fair, see if they care. Well, they do, but only if they're on the air. So they appear to have a heart and make a flare. But they haven't done shit for us, and that's a fact. Their only function is to keep the funny money where it's at, and it causes pain, stress. Ask me if we need a different way of life.
All through the years, man, they kill anybody they want, and nobody cares, and anybody get into a position to do anything about it gets killed.
Headline, Bush steals the presidency. He needs the backing of the meek, what could the remedy be? The country's headed for recession, reminiscent of the Great Depression. Our lives worth the world of power, easy question. Planes hit the towers in the Pentagon, killing those the government wasn't dependent on. It's easy to control the scared, so they keep us in fear. With their favorite Middle Eastern demon named Bin Laden this year. Bush disguises bloodlust as patriotism, convincing the living to love Operation Let's Get 'em. But when he realized we don't support their attacks, they needed something to distract. Anthrax. This further demonizes Afghanis, so Americans cheer while we kill their innocent families. And what better place to start a war? To build a pipeline to get the oil that they had wanted before. America supported the Taliban to get Russia out of Afghanistan. That's how they got the arms, and they're in a war against the Northern Alliance. And we can't build a pipeline in hostile environments. Here's what your history books won't show. You're a dead man for fucking with American dough. They're killing several birds with one stone, while you're at home with anti-terrorism up in your dome. But my eyes are wide open and my TV is off. Great, cause I save on my electricity costs. And you can wave that piece of shit flag if you did, but they killed us because we've been killing them for years.
This song, Home of the Brave, as we kick off the show with somebody who I am proud to be sitting in front of. This man will probably not be written in the history books the way that he should. And by that I mean he's not on MTV every day. You don't see him on BET. And there's a reason why he's not on MTV, but we'll talk about that. But he holds the distinction of being one of the first 5 or 6 artists to really come out and say something about 9/11 at a time when people were losing their jobs, were having their careers threatened, were under the microscope and under the gun for talking about, for bringing a perspective around the 9/11 situation that wasn't in sync with the George Bush administration. This gentleman has gone on to not only explode in his career. If you go around the country and you mention the name Mr. Lif, folks know him. You listen to the song that we just played, Home of the Brave, folks know it. Go to a concert where it's usually close to selling out with him and his Def Jux family, you'll see people singing the song. And yet, this gentleman will still catch a lot of heat from folks who feel like he should be silent and just keep everybody dancing and not thinking. But once again, this is my man, Mr. Lif. How you doing, son?
I'm very proud to be here. That's how I'm doing. You know, it's an honor to be here, sitting down, chatting with you, and I'm glad that y'all are just listening to the music, and hopefully you feeling the music.
Talk a little bit about the climate behind Home of the Brave. What you went through, why you did that song, what that was about, because I know you caught heat and you got praise, and what was that heat like, especially since you did it so close to 9/11?
You know, honestly, I feel like a lot of the heat came from me and what I expected, how I expected people to react. You know, on a very large level, beyond what I even thought was gonna happen, that song was embraced, you know, and if people were really upset about it, a lot of them didn't come up and confront me. I had a couple of very calm conversations with people at some of the venues when I was doing the song, you know, at shows and stuff like that. People might have disagreed or wanted to talk with me about my perspective, but, you know, ultimately I think that everything did go, you know, in a positive light. What really sparked that song was, you know, first of all, I was on tour with Cannibal Ox in 2001 when that happened. I'll never forget this. You know, I was in Montreal walking back from breakfast with DJ Fax One. We were walking back to the hotel, and then, you know, DJ Sip One comes out walking toward the van, and he's just like, "Yo, a plane just crashed into the Trade Center," and we just started bugging. So we went back up to the room in the hotel, turned on the TV, turned it on just in time to see the second plane hit the tower. And that day was just, you know, everyone I think around the world felt disoriented that day.
Did you know that those planes were from Boston? Because that's your hometown, so you're connected to that in a way.
I found that out later. You know what I mean? I found that out later. But that day was crazy. You know, we had to do a show in Toronto that day. We drove from Montreal to Toronto, and it was just a ghost town. The city of Toronto was completely evacuated, but we still performed that night, and it was a humble crowd at the show, but there were still people that were in spirits to hear some hip hop. So it was kind of a breakthrough day, because everyone that came out, it felt like a bit of a triumph that day, because we all still went out and did ours. We didn't let that stop our world. You know what I mean? But ultimately, you know, when I got home and I had some time off, you know, just watching the news and just seeing the way that, you know, Bush at that time had no approval rating whatsoever. He was a clown. He was the guy that stole the election. And all of a sudden, they gave him ability to put himself up on a pedestal and just come out and be America's hero, and, you know, and be the champion of the world. And, you know, just watching that happen and watching the way that people bought into it so swiftly, and all of a sudden forgot that this man was a thief, and, you know, and forgot about the things that he's been doing in his home state of Texas and all that. It was very difficult for me to watch, so I felt that it was very important at that point in time to go do a little bit of research, you know, just talk with some people, gather some ideas and thoughts, and come forth with a song that was going to put out an alternate perspective for people to at least think about. The song was just made to provoke some thoughts and spark some conversations.
You know, it's interesting. You said that you didn't catch the type of heat that you would have thought. A lot of people did catch heat. And why do you think you didn't catch it, or did you just, or was heat to you not really heat? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you know, honestly, I just feel like I'm just below the radar in so many regards. You know what I mean? I'm an independent artist. You know, though the label that I'm on is well known, it's like it wasn't like Home of the Brave was a huge blockbuster single. It was more of a cult following thing. And I think probably within that cult following, there were just people that, you know, maybe there was more heat. Like if I was the type of cat that was on the chat rooms online and everything. But, you know, as we all know, a lot of those people who do talk all that mess online, they don't really want to bring it to you when they see you in person. So I probably shook hands with about, you know, who knows, maybe 200-300 people who hated what I had to say. But, you know, I think that at the end of the day, what happened is that people, even if they didn't agree with it, appreciated the fact that I put another perspective out there. You know what I mean? I heard rumors, you know, about, you know, I heard rumors that I was on some list by the government of artists that they wanted to have silenced or whatever it was. I pretty much ignored things that I heard because I wrote them off as rumors, because no one ever actually approached me and tried to shut me down, you know, in any sort of official type of way. So I just had to, you know, go on and keep speaking my mind.
We're talking with Mr. Lif, but let's check out Return to the B-Boy. I want to set this up and then we'll come back and talk to you some more.
All right, sounds good.
Seconds after I've been swept off my feet, open through the doors and in steps the beat, complete with medical packs and 4-4s. Looked at me and said, damn, the nigga needs gauze. Wars, apart in the street, he got beat. The meat are disenfranchised and left weak. Beat, these images I couldn't ignore. Personas of the rhythm who just walked in the store. The snare slim sported a rare grin, noticing damage within. Remove bullets and pat skin. The kick drum scurvy opened my eyes. He said, don't worry. At the perk, he fired rounds in the flurry, and the hi-hat bat tapped the hostages with his gat. Told them break the fuck out and never look back. They have performed like Miyagi for the kamikaze. Then they got me, walked me out past the local paparazzi. I see y'all reanimator, sure kid, your jams a flavor. We need a savior and we came to relay the data. I'll repay a major situation cross town. Our music is lost sound cause they had us locked down. They meaning sucker rappers, herbs, crabs, common clowns who be making issue sounds in labs. Bitter facing masterpieces just to blast to pieces. What's dope and hope that we'd accept the whack of thesis. Jesus, where's the chamber? Allow me to become the scum rearranger. They said focus your anger and bring the rhymes that you wrote because these folks will hang ya. I accepted their concern, turned to them and said, oh, that written shit, I'll flip these chickens off the head. What about the fed? Hey yo, we left them a decoy. We didn't want the beast to know we brought back the B-boy.
I'ma bring it back. I'ma bring it back. I'ma bring it back. I'ma bring it back.
Hip-hop is so whack, the beats are fighting back, and I was sent to attack, so I'm following the map. X's mark the rappers I would tune heads with, corrosive cadences that'll be leaving their neck split. Step by step I'm headed toward the set to analyze a threat and make them regret the day we met. I suspect they got a smooth plot, I'm headed to the rooftops, that's where I'll make my stratagem so I can splatter them. They were only half a 10, 5 less rappers alive when we collide. The standard is dope, they didn't coincide. They were sacrilegious and vicious with dark wishes, witches to assure the core of hip-hop with the snitches. I dropped dime on how to travel back in time so they could melt and misalign pioneers, patterns of rhyme, and I'm furious, seething at what I'm seeing. Soon the against won't be breathing. I've seen what I gotta, so I'm leaving, cause I wanna set off the slaughter for the evening. Niggas hopped on my fish list with the swiftness. I'm about to rip this, come bear witness.
Familiar, you know, let's go back into time and let everybody know who is Mr. Lif, how long you've been in the game and what you're about.
Man, I've been in the game technically since 95. In 95 I made my first jam that really made an impact on people, this joint called Madness in the Cup. Took 2 years for them to come out, so it came out in 97, and since then, you know, started touring the world toured Europe in 98, dropped another single in 98, more singles in 99, you know, worked with various labels, worked with Grand Royal, worked with Brick Records, worked with Nose Productions, finally really found home in Def Jux in the year 2000, dropped my EP Enters the Colossus. 2002 put out a live album called Live from the Middle East, followed that up with an EP called Emergency Rations, which is where Home of the Brave was the lead track of that EP, and then later on that year, about 3 months after Emergency Rations came out, I put out I Phantom. So, you know, I was a workhorse in 2002, took a few years off, came back with a Perceptionist in 2005. Now I'm back in the lab working on more solo material.
You know, I'm just listening to your resume, and within a 7-year period, it looks like you put out close to 10 albums. And I'm almost tempted to say, man, you from the Bay Area, but you from Boston, which is kind of like our sister city, and you lived in both places. So maybe you could describe for our listeners what the Boston scene is like. You know, the independent entrepreneurial spirit that they have there, the type of underground scene, and how people kind of gel, and maybe compare it with the Bay.
Well, honestly, I would say that the Bay has, I think, a much more, the artists in the Bay, I really feel take a much more active role in their careers. A lot of cats that I know out in Boston that are trying to break into the independent scene, they don't really understand the work ethic that is involved in really making things crack. You know what I'm saying? Like, cats will put out an EP or one single, just think that the world's supposed to unfold in front of them, but it takes so much more than that. It takes a lot of consistent hard work, and that's why I really admire a lot of cats in the Bay, because I came out here and just, I met up with brothers like Murs, and Murs put me onto the whole game.
You're talking about Murs from Living Legend. That's one of the architects of that whole hustle.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like I learned so much from Murs. He always just drops the new science on me on how to keep your career moving on a grassroots level, and then also how to take it to higher heights. So I got love for both seas, and I definitely learned a lot out in the Bay. I learned a lot in Boston. Boston's where I came up. As a performer, that's where I got all my skills together, performing out at this place called the Western Front, then moving up to the bigger stage at this club called the Middle East. So it's been all together an amazing experience, both cities.
When I think of Boston, the reason why I compared the two, because first, geographically, you kind of feel like you could be in the Bay when you're in Boston. But also, just there are so many independent artists now. As you said, they don't have the same type of drive and hustle. That may be because Boston's close to New York. So folks may feel like, hey, let me just drive those 3 hours and I'm there in a big city. Whereas in the Bay, there is no New York and people don't think of New York. So I don't know. And you also have had some very big success stories out of Boston, New Edition and all that. So it might have misled people.
I definitely want to add to what you were saying, because that's such a great point. The fact that New York is just 4 hours down the road. New York is where the major record industry is, major film industry out there, all that type of stuff. And in Boston, we don't necessarily have labels the way New York has them. They have so many majors out there. So I think for a lot of cats from Boston, the idea was that you had to move to New York to really get your career started and to get it moving on the level that you wanted it to. Whereas I think maybe out in the Bay, y'all got enough distance from LA or something. I don't know what sparked the mentality, but y'all really are on some, come out and get it done, and that's an amazing thing. So the good point about New York, man.
Talking with my man, Mr. Lif, what we're going to do is we're going to take another musical break.
I got a question. Where are the weapons of mass destruction? We've been looking for months and we ain't found nothing. Please, Mr. President, tell us something. We knew from the beginning that your ass was bluffing.
How unfortunate, it wasn't what you thought it, kid. In basic training, they taught you how to slave it as a starter kid, and you showed up with the gun to load up, hoping the college education's waiting. Maybe your steady occupation, now you waiting many lives against yours. President's wars got you on course with all the costs. Sergeant is lost, general's boss, plans crossed, now you in the crosshair of a sniper, shaky, scared, shot off your ear. Up, down, one round just hit the minutes from some young yet expendable citizen. He's from the other side of the line, fighting for time to see his kids walk, time to talk with his pop, time to have a rational thought without the fear of being shot. Damn, his gun jam, now you've got him on lock. It's a soldier suicide slide, know you tried hard to stay alive when you're catching fire from both sides, and we miss you at home. It's time the government truly left you alone, drop you off and pop one in your dome. Now we've seen it in Iraq and the Congo, America's motto, kill their leader, then we make a stronghold.
Where are the weapons of mass destruction? We've been looking for months and we ain't found nothing. Please, Mr. President, tell us something. We knew from the beginning that your ass was bluffing. Where are the weapons of mass destruction? We've been looking for months and we ain't found nothing. Please, Mr. President, tell us something. We knew from the beginning that your ass was bluffing. I never thought of this the day that I enlisted, that I'd be dodging bullets, seeking weapons that never even existed. For someone else's personal beef, I risk my health while the commander-in-chief would never come and fight himself. I feel him being tricked even worse than the civilians. Nobody ever told me that we would be killing children. Feeling like the ones that sent me here are the psychotics. But if I say that out loud, I'm unpatriotic. But when Donald Rumsfeld backed me up with the chrome, with Tom Ridge fighter, would he stay secure back home? And with Condoleezza Rice cover grenades in the foxhole, I'm starting to believe what I was told is not so. What's the reason for the war? I'm shooting at these people that I got no animosity for. I wonder if I'm just a pawn in someone else's struggle, or a hero even though I'm such a small piece of the puzzle. I know that when I finally return where I reside, I'll make up for the months my wife and mom's cried, and carry on for all my fallen brothers who died. See, you can't take my pride, cause I'm a soldier. Where are the weapons of mass destruction? We've been looking for months and we ain't found nothing. Please, Mr. President, tell us something. We knew from the beginning that your ass was bluffing. Where are the weapons of mass destruction? We've been looking for months and we ain't found nothing. Please, Mr. President, tell us something. We knew from the beginning that your ass was bluffing.
It's Breakdown FM.
Breakdown, down.
Real music for real people. Holding you down and keeping you on point. Breakdown FM, the only station in the nation that's down by law.
We're back here with my man Mr. Lif. We're hanging out with him actually in his hotel, and he's been on tour, you know, with one of the premier underground labels. I hate to use that word underground because it often separates all of hip-hop. But I'll let you maybe, you know, give your philosophy on that. We're talking about Mr. Lif, who's with the, you know, the rap collective and label we call Definitive Jux. And you guys, I guess if you really look at rhyme collectives, there might be 5 or 6 rhyme collectives or artist collectives that really have made major headway. We mentioned your boy Murs from Living Legends. That's a premier rhyme collective. You also have here in the Bay, Hyro, another premier rhyme collective out of Minneapolis. We have the Rhyme Sayers. That's another premier rhyme collective. And of course, you know, the cream de la creme Wu-Tang, you know. And then we have Definitive Jux. Talk a little bit about the Definitive Jux, the family that you all have, and what you all are really about, and who are some of the artists that we may or may not know.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that is the key word, is family. You know, I think that the whole concept behind it is like, you know, LP started the label. LP is one of my best friends. You know, and then, you know, he introduced me to Vass and Bortle from Cannibal Ox. You know, they were good friends. They've been repping for years. I meet them as an automatic connection there. You know, finally meet up with Aesop. Automatic connection there. You know.
So now let's go over this, because you mentioned some of these names. So I want to make sure everybody gets the 101 on who these people are.
Okay. Well, Cannibal Ox, they released an album called The Cold Vein. I believe it was in 2001. And you know, they're a rap duo out of Harlem, New York. They were originally in this group called the Addams Family. And you know, I think L just kind of took them. He was, you know, he liked both their talent. He was like, y'all should be a group, put them together, produced their whole album. And the album made a lot of noise for them and for the label. So it was a huge landmark in the development of Definitive Jux as a label. Aesop Rock in 2001 dropped the album Labor Days, and that was a largely successful album, probably best known for his hit single Daylight that came off of that record. And then, you know, I'm trying to think, you know, then of course LP came through with Fantastic Damage in 2002. And LP, as many of y'all know, founder of Company Flow, a group that put records out on Rockets back in the day, but most of all started independently, just selling their EP Fun Crusher hand to hand. And then, you know, RJD2, who's originally out of, I believe it's Columbus, Ohio. You know, he dropped his album Dead Ringer in 2002, and that was what was really powerful about that year for us, was that you know, Def Jux was originally founded in the year 2000, and the first thing that they put out was my EP Enters the Colossus. And then, you know, I got to sit back, watch the label develop, and then I came back in 2002 with more stuff. But at the same time, I was like, okay, LP finally had his solo record together. And then RJ stepped up and delivered a classic to people. So it was like myself, RJ, and LP on the road together. That was a really great experience. And like I said, we all really get along very well. We're all friends. And I think that that's what makes the label so important to all of us, is because we feel that we all are personally a part in how far the label has gotten. It's been all of our blood, sweat, and tears. And mostly I feel what the label is about, beyond family, is each artist on the label is striving to break ground every time they make a record. You know, and I feel that the music that comes out on the label is very honest. We are all, you know, none of us are creating a facade where, you know, it's just like, my name is Jeff. There's no separation between Lif and Jeff, really. Just same cat, and I feel I can say the same thing about Aesop. I feel I can say the same thing about L. We just do our thing. If there's something going on in our lives, we put it into the music and we share it, and unashamedly. So I think that's one of the things that I think maybe sets us apart from a lot of music that's being made right now in the industry, because I get the sense that a lot of the music in the industry right now is insincere. So,
we're talking with Mr. Lif. One of the things that immediately come to mind as you were talking was, how you all managed to, one, stay together, but two, when you go to your shows, how have you guys cultivated this fan base to a lot of, as I said at the beginning of the show, there are some people who may listen to 50 Cent and Game all day, and they love them, and they'll go, I never heard of this guy, Mr. Lif. Why are you on the radio? What do you do? They watch 106 in Park, they go, I never seen this video. Yet, I go to your shows and I see them sold out, packed to the rafters. So there's a following, people knowing all your songs, and I guess there's now a move afoot for people to sit there and go, how do these guys get this following? So what's the secret?
I mean, I think the secret is to consistently make music, and I think that when you think about what really happened, you gotta look at the way that LP crafted the label, and he did things that are unbeknownst to me as well. He just really made something that I think people felt that he just basically created something for a market that wasn't being tended to properly. You know what I mean? Apparently there were a lot of kids out there who couldn't necessarily fit into a lot of the mainstream stuff, and needed hip hop that they felt appealed to them. And luckily for us, the music that we're making hits that audience. And then I think what we do is we continually feed them. The label consistently puts out records that people can believe in, and then we tour for those records very hard. So we're consistently out there in touch with our fan base, letting them know that we care about them enough to come out of our cribs, fly, take trains, sit in a van for 10 hours to get to the venue, whatever it takes to get there. And then typically after the show and before the show, we're out there hanging out, selling our own merchandise, all that, man. So we are in touch with our fan base. They know that we love them very much and appreciate the fact that they're allowing us to live our dream out here. And, and like I said, we just try to keep the catalog coming right at them.
Oh, Lif, what up, kid?
Yo, what's the deal, Fat?
Haven't seen you in mad long,
it's been a minute.
How you been maintaining,
son.
No doubt, I've been holding it down here back in the ton while you was away.
Of course.
But this cat was running his mouth,
What's up?
Cat was running his mouth, talking this and that, saying you don't be rapping, you don't rip the mic or whatever. I was just like, yo, kid, I just wanted to know how you felt about that.
That's absolutely ridiculous. I'm meticulous when ripping this. I'll break your ribs, hip and fist. If you don't get the gist, I'll give the air a twist. I'm more fatal as a tornado or a volcano, harder than fire with the texture of glass. Lift the lava mass. This mega blast is supplied by years of struggling and praying that society start crumbling. It's humbling when you describe your skills as pummeling. Step on stage and proceed to start mumbling and stumbling over the mic stand. This is when I entered the stage and start to decrease your lifespan. Same thing goes for your DJ and your hype man. My targets are on lock, hitting my sights, and I am gonna show ya a true mic holder. Burn that ass up, watch it smolder.
One step, bounce. One step, bounce.
Be out.
One step, bounce. One step, bounce. All you rappers be out.
My so clear, yours just verbals like Robert. Talking about you went on tour, where with that tired ass that nobody wants to hear. You showed up at the venue, wasn't nobody there except me, hoodie down and deadly, ready to end you with the murderous medley. This one here is aimed right at your head, see. You suck, clown, KRS told you, but you didn't listen. Lif wasn't missing. I came in on some nuclear well, here's vision, hitting with the quarter century of wisdom. Have you ever heard the sounds of bone splitting? Come a little closer, oops, you're not supposed to. What with another rugged rhyme from my holster? I keep flipping, you think you can't keep wishing. Yo, this done, next mission.
One step, bounce. One step, bounce.
Be out.
One step, bounce. One step,
my voice so you know that I'm here. Letting competition know I'm fresher this year. Thoughts of a scientist, mind of a bear. There's a rumor that Mr. Lif's cooler. Robots time warp to battle me sooner. Cause they know my plan is to damage their future. So I write a death rap, similar to a death trap. Squeeze to the bolts and their neck snap. Check out my newly found ability to let life flow through me. The only way to truly pursue the wisdom for which my soul seeks. Now my mind spans over valleys and peaks, bringing an alarm to anybody who sleeps. Open the concept, it's out of your reach. My breathtaking wordplay snatching your speech. Son, you're just a student of the lessons I teach.
One step, yeah, bounce. One step, yeah, bounce. Step, yeah, bounce.
Me out.
One step, yeah, bounce. One step, yeah, bounce. Step, yeah, bounce. All you rappers be out.
You know, oftentimes when people look at your crowd, they say, oh, that's the backpack crowd. And I don't know how you all feel about that, because a lot of times what they'll associate backpack crowd as skaters, a lot of white kids from the suburbs, and you know, and then you got somebody like yourself with the dreads and very political, and you know, and definitely have a lot to say, especially in the issues of race and what have you. And you know, we'll talk about your next song we're going to play, which really underscores that. So you know, how do you feel about that label? Is it an accurate depiction, or does that label only apply in certain cities? Like if you go in the middle of maybe Albuquerque or Tempe, Arizona, might be one thing, versus when you come to an LA or Boston, where you may find everybody at your shows.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, man. You know, when I sit down to write my music, I write it for everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like worldwide, I'm not thinking about any one type of person. I'm thinking about everyone on a global scope. So yes, I wish that there was more diversity. I don't really understand how you know, how our music is mainly attracting like a certain type of person. But yeah, you know, it's something that I've been really trying to decipher, something that I want to build with you about, you know what I'm saying? You know, because it really has baffled me. One thing that I'm happy about now is that, you know, the crowd, you know, especially when I'm out with Aesop, crowd is young, so I know that we're getting a lot of young people who are probably going to listen to the music for the next 5 years and still be going to the shows for the next 5 years, so that's a positive thing. But as far as the diversity goes, it is something that I've been stumped by damn near since I got into the game, and would love to, you know, figure out a way to get more people involved, you know, and just make them feel that they are completely welcome to come in and listen to this music. And of course, with my latest album, Black Dialogue, with my group, The Perceptionists, we really took the time to address certain issues, especially in the black community. You know, but it is an odd feeling when you know, you make these songs and then you don't really actually feel like your people are going to hear them.
That's something that is definitely a challenge in a lot of groups, not just yourself, but so many groups that are like that. And I wonder if there was a strategy afoot to might have keep the type of dialogue that you have. You know, one of the songs that we've often played, and we'll play this maybe back to back after we play your other song, is from one of your group members from The Perceptionist, Acrobatic. And here's a guy who does his incredible song, Remind My Soul. And, you know, what I saw, you know, here's a guy sampling Malcolm X. You know, he lives in the hood in Boston. You know, he's definitely a hood cat. You know, addresses these issues, but then when he goes to the places that the hood feeds from, the local radio stations, and this song that, you know, we'll play it, never got to play. Wouldn't touch a video, wouldn't give him the interviews. He's in town selling out shows that won't let him on. And so I wonder if there's something that goes, he's talking about Malcolm and Martin and revolution and what have you. You know what, maybe we can't let him on. And so, you know, this nurturing type of substance that you guys tend to bring with your music, maybe that's something they go, no, Mr. Lif today.
Yeah, no, I mean it's atypical for the format right now for, you know, what people are for what people are doing. You know, it's just like, you know, it would be so completely out there for one of these stations to all of a sudden play a song like Remind My Soul, because you know what they're playing, you know. I just, somewhere along the line, a lot of people on the air just, I don't know, they lost their gall, or maybe, maybe the job security is far less than it used to be and people don't feel like they can take any chances. But, for whatever reason, all of a sudden it is not fashionable for a black man who's talking about black awareness, or just awareness for people of color globally, or awareness for people all over the world, just regardless of ethnic background. It's just not a fashionable thing, and I don't know how hip hop went from that. I don't know how it went from PE being the dominant factor, and just having literally a whole era where the image of the intelligent black man was something that was just so many people craved it. I mean, it literally was what hip hop kicked in the door with, you know what I'm saying, and broke through, and the world embraced it. And now it's just like, if you're not talking about killing your own people either with drugs or or with a weapon, or just or if you're just not on some completely misogynist tip, it's just not fashionable, and it really is beyond me. And please add on your insight, straight up.
Well, that's something to definitely think about. We're talking with Mr. Lif, and I think like I said, probably a lot of it has to do with where people are oriented to get their information from. And if it, like I said, if it ain't on BET and MTV, it ain't happening for so many people. One of the interesting things, and we'll play the song first, is a song where you did try to crack in to the mainstream. You took some time out, you paid for a video, and you said, you know what, Mr. Lif is going to play the game. And so you said, let me do this video for MTV and talk about this song, and what MTV said, and maybe this will underscore maybe the points that you raised.
Well, I mean, in 2002, after I Phantom came out, I became a bit of a media darling. Rolling Stone magazine did this joint venture with MTV where they put me on a list of 10 artists to watch that they felt were definitely targeted to blow up in the near future. I then went and made a video for this song called Live from the Plantation, which was a song where I just spoke about the pressures of the workplace, and just, how, basically how a lot of people are out there working for far less than they deserve, and a lot of the frustrations that come with that. And, we made a video for it, and then, next thing you know, we turned it into MTV. They want to edit it once, they want to edit it twice, they want to edit it a third time. It's too violent, you can't show this, you can't show that. But then when I turn on these video stations, I see things that are far more appalling than anything I could ever put in a video. So it's just
So let me ask you, what did they find violent? I mean, the song is a dope song, Live from the Plantation, so you're making that connection from slavery to going to the workforce, all this sort of stuff. So okay, concept is there. You're being featured in magazines, your name is out there, people like you, it's a winner. They got now, at this time, they have not one but two channels. They have the main MTV and MTV2. And they come to you and say, your video's too violent.
Yeah, I mean, basically there were parts of it where, I was just trying to give a visual of what a lot of people think about when they're just stuck in a cubicle for, 8-9 hours a day with no sort of escape, not seeing the light of day at all, except for on their little lunch break or whatever. So, there was a part where, one cat was just sitting there with a noose, kind of contemplating, just feeling like he was just, dead at work, and we gave a visual of that. And then, there was one point where I'll admit it was over the top, where some cat just burnt himself up in his cubicle, lit himself on fire. I don't mind getting rid of that, you know what I mean, because we took it a little over the top there. But what's wrong with going over the top? I think that most things that are breakthroughs do go a little over the top, and give people something to see, give people something to talk about. So really, I think
this is the same network that the same company that shows the video with the woman getting a credit card run through a Viacom. Yeah. This is the same people. So you can get Nelly and one of his guys from the Lunatics to take a credit card and slide it through the butt of a woman as she's gyrating and doing all kind of definitely over the top suggestive things sexually for the song Tip Drill. You show a visual to a very conscious song and they go no.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I should have had some sort of a woman in a bikini next to the noose, and it would have been straight. You know what I mean? It's just I guess people's anguish isn't sexy enough, so it just wasn't a viable option for something for them to play. So that's unfortunately the way that a lot of things work. Sex is the main seller
we'll be
right
right
now.
back.
There were no nude people in the video, and there were a couple of visuals that were perhaps a little bit too real about things that I think people legitimately think about when they are trapped at a job that they find completely, not to their pleasure. So, it's unfortunate, but that's the reality right now.
We're going to go back to back. We're going to play the song live from the plantation, and then we're going to come back and we're going to play Acrobatics, Remind My Soul, from your group, The Perceptionists.
God, man. Oh, this sleep serious. Jesus Christ, man. Already? And time flies like a mother.
Rise and shine, yet another day to toss away. What does my clock display? It says 8. This I'm late for work again, so then I dip with my pad and my pen. Step into the workplace with my work face. Wince at my time card cause I'm scarred. Mad cause I sacrifice my day and it gets me a trifling hourly wage of $6.50. Nifty. Now I'm off to slave quarters with a whole bunch of other people's sons and daughters. Working so they can be mothers and fathers. Laboring real hard, hoping the boss offers more petty cash to us bums and paupers. Kissing his ass cause they're hoping they prosper. Here's the math, you work a third of your day away. The government takes a third of your check, correct. You go home and drink cause you don't get an ounce of respect and your spirit is wrecked. Life is a gift to be enjoyed every second, every minute. It's temporary, not infinite. Yet I find myself looking at the clock, hoping for the day to fly by. So I ask myself why I'm doing this remedial work for second graders. I'm an educator with mega flavor, so maybe I should just jump up and get ill. Maybe I should let these people know they're being killed. Maybe I should try my very best to chill and get paid cause I gotta pay bills.
Cause I've had it.
Excuse me, brother, could you please stop making that noise so I can talk? Thank you. Now the boss says he wants you to
Hey
go
there,
make more
champ.
copies
Big
of
boss
these
man says
checks.
you've been
The
late
boss
3
says
days
he
in a
wants
row.
you to move
Better
his
sharpen
desk
up.
to the basement. And can I have the stapler? No.
Oh, this makeup place. Same shit, okay. Like to wring the boss's neck though. If only dreams could come true. Dead boss, somebody call Red Cross. I guess he got caught up in my mental holocaust. How much did it cost? Just a little piece of my mind for peace of mind.
But he's bleeding.
Oh no, leave him, he'll be fine. He'll heal on his own if you just give him some time. Considering the fact that his face is misaligned. His legs are over there laying right next to his spine. Jesus, must have been daydreaming, huh? My boss walks by, he's looking just like an boss. I'm smiling cause he jerks against for minimal cash flow. He's cool in my face, but I swear I heard him laugh though. Tickled by the fact that I'm the modern day Sambo. And just when I think that I'm about to go Rambo, I call up my man and he says he understands, yo. We all are being murdered by a similar process. Whether you work at the candy store or slave at the office, the purpose of our life is just to serve the economy. They misinform our minds to paint a picture of harmony. But if you're listening, you know that's it's out of tune. Cause the function of our life is just to work and consume. Of reaching out to help the next, there ain't any room. Just close your eyes and block your ears and march to your doom. But since I ain't really getting paid for my time, I pulled out my pen and started writing a rhyme. Can't you see that I'm busy, jerk? Don't dare approach me with busy work. Take another step and get hurt by the man that embodies mad years of anger. A cool bro, soon to be the Boston Strangler. Everything inside of me is about to erupt, cause a righteous individual dislikes the corrupt. I knew he'd lock me up if I started a brawl, so I jetted and I punched the clock off the wall. Yeah, that's right, motherfucker. You can't keep on underpaying people and mistreating them all the time. That's gonna result in crime. As a matter of fact, you know what? Facts. Yo, cut this motherfucker off, man.
getting wild out here. It makes me wonder how a black man could ever raise a child out here. You know we all crumb snatchers in this land of big cake. So why we killing for the crumbs when there's so much at stake? We no longer supposed to be slaves. I bet Harriet Tubman would be turning in a grave. Like remind my soul of the time we were great before the self-hate. My elders all feel the same, it's no bravery. You're supposed to fight for freedom, not just the end of slavery. Are we too selfish to even bless the kids with jewels? So our youth don't get played out for fools? Or will they get programmed how to behave? Malcolm X must be turning in his grave. Like remind my soul of the time we were great before the self-hate. 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 The time we were great. Wait, we still great, but
I point these things out, brothers and sisters, so that you and I will know the importance of being in complete unity with each other, harmony with each other, and not letting the man maneuver us in fighting one another.
I met up with this dread, said peace, respect. He said respect, man, I ain't seen that around here yet. Black man kill himself for limited amount of wealth, and him disrespecting women, so him disrespect himself. I agree with what the dread had to get off of his chest. Bob Marley would be disturbed from his rest, like remind my soul of the time we were great before the self-hate. Can't work a dead end 9 to 5 for what? To be another victim of social security cuts? I gotta cut myself from the chains and run free. Empower myself and be my own authority. People died so I don't have to be a runaway slave. Nat Turner must be turning in his grave. Like remind my soul of the time we were great before the self-hate. 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 The time we were great. Wait, we still great, but
let us now seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred.
we're taught to worship these rappers and athletes and actors. Many who think they're better and they'll walk right past you. It's what you do off camera and off the court that really makes you worthy of the people's support. But some brothers get those millions and forget how to behave. Arthur Ashe must be turning in his grave. Like remind my soul of the time we were great before the self-hate. We crabs in a barrel. You ain't getting out until I do first, and that's why the guns burst. Whatever happened to strength in numbers? Some of the greatest minds on the planet are among us, but so many start off struggling and never get saved. Man, Martin must be turning in his grave. Like remind my soul of the time we were great before the self-hate. 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 The time we were great. Remind my soul, we were great before the self-hate, yo. Yeah.
Okay, we're back here listening to back-to-back songs live from the plantation. Acrobatics, Remind My Soul. Man, what do you think when you hear that song? We talked a little bit about it, but talk a little bit about the perception.
I mean, really, you know, I've had the honor of performing this song, Remind My Soul, with Act, just, you know, just backing him up on the mic while he's doing that song. And it's just such an incredibly powerful song. It puts so many things in perspective for me. Just, you know, when you think about all the things that, you know, black, and I truly don't know all the things. I think any of us that are removed from the era of slavery can't truly know what black people really went through in this country. But when you think about all that, you think about all the sacrifices that some of our leaders made, so that we could have the quality of life that we're at least able to think that we can go after nowadays. And then you look at how, you know, you look at what's happening for black people, especially in the entertainment industry. It just seems like we are really just throwing it all away. You know what I mean? And it's sad. And every time I hear that song from Ack, it puts it really back into perspective for me. You know, it just really is a sad thing. I just feel like, you know, the industry found a way for black people to just completely annihilate their own future. You know what I mean? Cats are just like, hey, here's an advance, you know, here's a check for $250,000. You know what I'm saying? Now we need you to go make songs with this particular format that talks about this particular subject matter. And Cats just went and did it. You know what I'm saying? And then it became the standard. And now, you know, Cats refuse to not do it. You know, to the point where it's the norm, and if you're not doing it, you know, it's just not something that your own people are interested in. You know.
Do you think an artist like Common with his new album B, which has gotten the critical acclaim, do you think that kind of redirects the focus and opens the door? And you got to ask this because Common brought the Last Poets in. You know, Kanye with his new lyrics talking about the diamonds, which a lot of people may not know, he's catching a lot of heat. He's really catching heat because he's talking about the diamond trade in Sierra Leone. And he's talking about, man, all these diamonds I bought, because remember, he bought the 50,000 Jesus pendant. He's like, I'm going to throw that away. And now all of a sudden the Jacob the jewelers of the world are really upset because they feel like he may get people to not buy diamonds now. But do you think this will open the door and, you know, and maybe get people to really look at people like yourself and the Dead Prezes and other groups that are really trying to bring something different?
Well, I really hope so, man. I'm glad that those brothers out there making music that are shaking people up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, you know, I'm sure Kanye's stressed out, but you know, I'm glad he's making that type of music, you know, and I'm glad that, you know, Common is still out there writing verses that are really talking about things that are going on in the community. So, you know, I can hope, you know, I hope that those records do well. I try my best to support those records, you know what I mean, and time will tell. You know, that's the approach that I've had to take to it now. I'm just on some, you know, time will tell. I'm just going to keep on doing what I do. You know, I'm, like I said, I'm in the lab trying to come back with a real strong record right now on the solo tip, and, you know, those brothers are working on a mainstream level and having a very large amount of success. So I can only hope that they just stay strong and keep on making music that shakes things up.
Success. This is rock bottom, y'all. I never expected it. In order to be business-like, you must be the prerequisite. Move your culture at home, smile. Don't be too proud, too wild. You may suffer, just don't cry out loud. This notion of professionalism is like an exorcism, forced to give your life away while you're earning a living. These thoughts had stopped me from rejoining the workforce, but now the situation I'm in just seems to hurt more. Maybe it won't be bad, maybe it'll be good. I could use a little structure in my life, maybe I should take my suit and tie out of the closet, try shining up my shoes and brush the dust off of my wallet. Let's consider the prospects, make a couple phone calls. Now so many interviews, you know I got next week. I'm strictly going from the bottom to the peak. I'm ready, focused and determined to get back on my feet.
Daddy had a name tag that said busy working. Mommy had a milk carton that said missing person. God had a new baseball glove with nobody to learn with. That's oil and water trying to mix on the same circuit.
I got a job at a business place I choose not to name. Ask me how did I achieve this so quick? Yes, you may. Back when I was blind, my efforts had compiled a stunning resume. I didn't value it back then, but boy, it helped today. I'm pushing every single thought of rebelling away. I'm working real hard, my pockets are swelling, and hey, can you believe I met the girl of my dreams? I swear she's meant for me. We've been together over 2 years, going on 3. We married on our 4th anniversary. Bought a house and turned a room into a nursery. For the bouncing baby boy that we're expecting in June, I sat in that delivery room from noon to noon. 24 hours of labor, then the nurse asked me his title for the paper. You know, so the government can trace ya. First name John, last name insignificant. I'm smiling like a proud dad, I got the birth certificate. Go to the house, and here's why vanity's a sin. I looked around and nothing's good enough for her or him. So my 8-hour days became 9. 9 slid up to 10, a subtle slip up to 11. And then, after a 12-hour day, I got too little energy to say I love you to my lady or play daddy to Jay. And I thought this was the way to be a husband and a father. I guess I could have looked in her eyes and seen I lost, but it wasn't my fault. I'm working hard, it couldn't be. I've been successfully existing as a member of this family. I was so convinced the household had to always be complete. I didn't realize the only thing that's missing is me.
Daddy had a name tag that said busy working. Mommy had a milk carton that said missing person. John had a new baseball glove with nobody to learn with. That's oil and water trying to mix on the same circuit.
There was never any talk of divorce. I can't believe how focused I was in the face of such a huge potential loss. Not a sign of weakness for the boss. In fact, I was mad at my wife as if she's trying to knock me off course. But I still visited the floors to get the flowers. The last time I did this, not since our wedding shower. I got home and I was greeted by the fact we've been deleted. I was someone that my wife and child thought they no longer needed. And before I could say where's John, I looked down and he was clinging to an harm, I realized I done them wrong. I blacked out and by the time I came to, they were gone. But somehow I sat and shook my head and then I carried on. And I still completed 3 weeks of work before my breakdown. The ambulances came and I got medicine to take now. And it's hard to get a job when you've been treated and released. So both my relationship and my career are deceased. It took years to put myself together piece by piece. And thank God I found a woman that's real patient with me. And I'll never let this happen again. It's not to be, I'm ready, focused and determined to get back on my feet.
Daddy had a name tag that said busy working. Mommy had a milk carton that said missing person. John had a new baseball glove with nobody to learn with. The oil left the water and the water kept searching. Searching.